I don't know, like, she's out there. You're the Florida version of Sex in the City, JD.
That's when I was smoking my cigar.
Don't be an asshole today.
Hey,
Hi, sunshine.
how's it going, Denise? Long time no see.
Oh my God, it feels like a lifetime.
It does. It definitely does.
I can't believe that we have been so disconnected.
I know,
Are you
but
busy? Are you working? Like what are you doing?
yeah, I'm working currently. So, I'm an editor for Equal Pride right now.
Oh, I know.
And they're a media company. They own The Advocate and Out Traveler, stuff like that.
Oh, cool. That's
Yeah,
great. So you're still working from home.
I am. Yes, I am home at the moment.
Lucky you. What's it
Yeah.
like there? You're in Denver, right?
Yes, yes. In Denver, and
Spring
it's been
sprung?
really nice. What?
Has spring sprung?
Oh, I'm hoping so because we've been running with a lot of cold lately, so I'm really hoping that spring will finally be here.
Honestly, we jumped the gun a little bit, like 2 weeks ago. It was so sunny and 60 and, breezy. So we gutted a whole bunch of stuff in our garden, planted some new flowers and new, climbers and stuff. And yeah, it's 39 degrees today.
Wow.
I'm like, oh my God, we got to protect the flowers. It's like
I can't believe how cold it is right there.
I couldn't, I was like stunned. It was gorgeous. Like the sun was out, it was breezy, but it was cold. And I think it got up to like 55, this afternoon. So I had the windows open and, doing my stuff because Gemma's away on business and she left today. So I was like, going at it, cleaning and everything. I had the windows open. I'm like, oh, this is so nice. Because we just had everything painted in March. And I guess because I wasn't here, I was in Florida while Gemma was having it done. I'm like so keen to the smell. Like I can smell the paint still. So every
Oh,
chance I get, I try and like open the windows and everything. And she's immune because she was here for it. And so yeah, I had all the windows open today. It was really nice. And then about like 3 o'clock, I was like, you know what? It's cold. Like your temperature just started plummeting by 5 degrees. And I'm like, what's it gonna beat it overnight? Because went upstairs for something. We had the skylight open and it was so cold upstairs. So I just closed everything up and put the heat on for an hour just to take the bone chill out. But what the hell?
I can't believe it got that cold so quickly.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like you can have all the weather in one day here, like
Yeah.
sunshine, hail, rain, wind, back to sunshine. Like you don't, it's just hour to hour. It's one of those
Yeah.
things I just got to get used to. Like I lived in Florida for so long and it was like a rain, cloud passes by and it dumps for 5 minutes and back to sunny and humid. But here you never know what you're gonna get. It's crazy. And if I feel like even weather apps can't even keep up, they're just like, well, whatever. Partly cloudy, maybe chances of rain. Just like throw it.
Yeah. How can you anticipate all of that, right?
I know it's crazy, but it's been quite a while since we got to catch up, and I feel like I went to Florida and I went to Palm Beach Pride because JD was playing and I was in town, so of course I went to see her and it was my favorite little Pride fest and it was really fun. And I feel like there were some friends of mine that were trying to inject a little fear, like they were saying, DeSantis is calling on protesters that might get nasty out there. And I looked, online and I was like reading anything that he had done in the last couple of weeks, and there was nothing. And it made me pause for a minute, and I'm like, I don't want to go and feel unsafe, like that hasn't happened to me, and I don't want it to, because I know that it'll rattle me really good, so I really, really weighed about going, and then I kicked myself in the ass because I was like, I'm doing it, we're going, because my friend from over here was in Florida too. So I was like, we're gonna do this. So we went, and it was such a good time, and there was no moment ever that I felt unsafe. There were no protesters there. It was bigger than normal, which was great. It's like doubled in size since the last time I went. But it was a really nice day. And had I not gone, I would have been really upset with myself, because it was, the entertainment was great. The vendors were good. We got to meet a couple of people that we've had on the show, but
Mhm.
never met in person. So that was pretty cool. And JD just like rocked the house. Like, she was so good. Yeah, so I would have been really upset. And I was so happy that I went. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait to tell Nick I did a gay thing. Because
Yes.
I never do. You get to
Well,
go see all these gay movies and everything, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't do anything.
I'm glad that you decided to go, especially with how it's going to be this year. Because did you hear that they canceled Pride in Florida for
Yeah. I'm really
yeah.
good friends with Robert Boo, and he runs Pride Equality, the big Pride Center, and our GLCC all combined. I mean, he's a force to be reckoned with, and I know he's having to step back a little bit because his mom just passed away. But I read some of the releases, and it was the parade, it was the festival, it was, I mean, it's everything. And I get, it's the immediate response to keeping your community safe, but it's so sad. It's so sad. It's actually, um, it makes you feel like a little bit gutted that it's got to come to this.
I
And
know.
here comes JD. Oh, hey,
Hey, I'm here.
Hey, JD.
Hi, Nick.
JD. I just said to JD, because she was stuck in traffic, and I'm like, don't you have Waze? And she was like, Waze? Is that a traffic app? I've never heard of it. I was like, oh my God.
There's an app for that.
Never
Yeah.
heard
Oh,
one accident going up and two accidents coming back. It was just
Oh,
crazy. And I left in plenty of time. So
yeah.
anyway,
See, Waze would tell you where the accident was and route you right around it. So you,
ah, I'm
yeah,
downloading it when we're done.
yeah, please do. Please do. I don't like that you're without it.
Oh, me either, now that I know it exists. Now
You're too much.
that I know it exists. Wow.
I was just telling Nikki Doodle about Pride and how much fun
Oh, it was good. It was successful
it was.
all
It
the
was
way
really,
down. It
yeah,
was, yeah.
all the way around. But yeah, and then we were talking about how all the big Pride fests down in Fort Lauderdale have been canceled.
Yeah, I can't believe that.
Yeah,
Also, up in West Palm, I think they have Pride on the Block that is going on, and that's it. They're not doing anything else.
that's a
wow.
yeah, yeah. We were talking with a couple of friends of mine who are real active in the community, and movers and shakers. And they were like, it was impending, like you could feel that this it was going to come to that.
Mhm.
And I said, I don't understand why. I get that June is Pride Month, but I feel like you should be able to have Pride anytime conducive to your weather. So there is
Right.
absolutely nothing wrong with having a Pride Fest in fucking January
Mhm.
in Florida. You know what I
I
mean?
agree. I agree. I think that's why they do it in February at Palm Beach, does
But
it in February, right?
March.
Oh, March. I'm sorry, March. But I think
Yeah.
that's why they do it in March is because
But
of the
that's
weather.
what I mean. Like, I feel like shake it up. Don't have the same,
Right,
don't
right.
have it in the same month, or, same weekend of the year,
Mhm.
like just shake it up so that people can't plan, like your organizers, yeah, and vendors, yeah, but don't release, the date until you know it, and do it in a different month and shake things up. I don't know that that's the way, but I feel like it would keep people from planning against it if they, they're like, oh, every June there's a Pride Fest and blah blah blah, like if
Right.
they didn't know, that it was going to be in a different month, it would rattle them, and hopefully, kind of shake them up and keep them away. But
Well, Stonewall, it always torrentially rained
I know
on.
I never went to Stonewall and didn't get drenched.
Did they cancel Stonewall as well? Did they cancel that as well?
I don't know. I only read from Mr. Boo's Robert's releases, so I didn't
Hmm.
I didn't see anything about Stonewall, but that's a whole separate beast. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, but it's a
Wow.
shame. It affects everyone, not so much, just like the community of queers, but the entertainment, the vendors, that,
Everything. Yeah.
that rely on those things. So yeah, it's a ball ache. I don't even know a nice way to say it. It's a ball ache. And I feel it's awful that it's so specifically targeting, trans people and drag. Our drag community is like the foundation. It's your entertainment. It's how dare you, God. So what's it like? What's the tone in Colorado?
Things have been moving pretty progressively here in Denver, where I'm at. Um, we are moving forward with our pride, as far as I'm aware. It's just a shame what's going on in other states across the country and how, there could be other prides affected, not just in Florida, but there's
Right.
other states where they're passing these drag bans. And we're going to see that as how it's affected Florida, we're going to see that affect all these other
Yeah.
states too.
I feel it coming. It's ridiculous. And it's like taking someone's livelihood away. You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't seem fair, Like what if they like banned all dentists? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what do they do for money?
Singers or something. Yeah. What
Jesus.
is there? I don't know. I don't want to sound ignorant, but is it happening other places than Florida? And like, why? Like, why now is there this problem with drag when it's been around for so long? Like,
It's an election year that, we have an election year coming.
Yeah.
Republicans are targeting things that will rile up their base, and they're passing legislation as fast as they can because, they control the House, right?
So it's not just here then. It's just in
Well,
general.
I feel like it's pretty bad in Florida because not only, is it becoming more and more Republican, but you've got DeSantis,
Mhm.
that's just opened the floodgates on any kind of,
Yeah.
conservative Christian bullshit. So it's rough, I think, but I do see, a pattern, and I fully believe that it's all due to the 2024 is an election year, and it's going to be a biggie. It's going to be a showdown.
Election years and they didn't pick on drag, like the drag community. I don't know why that's happening now. Like
It's
Yeah.
I feel like it's to rile up the Republican base.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's DeSantis trying to establish himself as a credible candidate, which is ironic because he is trailing Trump so far behind in the polls
Yeah.
with Republicans, and now with Disney suing Ron DeSantis,
Yeah. Because
it's like not
he
it's
targeted
not gonna go his
them,
way.
like he targeted Disney, and it's like, oh my God, dude, you're drunk with power.
I never liked him. I can't stand his face. Like I
I
was
can't
just like,
stand anything about him.
Very
It's,
punchable.
I know his face is so comfortable, but you know what? Really, it's his voice. Like he's got such a candy ass voice.
yeah, like a
All the
whiny.
shit that he's, doing. It's like I can't, I can't even. I just, I feel awful because it's also foreseeable, it really is, because we don't have a strong Democrat to tell Joe, like, take a break, you're done, you're good. Ride out
Yeah.
your son, ride it out, you're on your back porch in Delaware.
Can you
But
imagine them, on another note, like electing an 80-year-old woman to be president? Like that would never happen. Like he's, like not for anything, but just on a side note, like we
a
haven't,
woman in general, doesn't even matter what age,
have
it's
to have, right. We still
so
have
backwards.
to have a woman in general, right? And then
No.
like I can't imagine a woman of that age ever being allowed to, ever being elected into being the president. Just something that occurred to me the other day.
It's crazy.
Doesn't have anything to do with anything. I'm just saying. Just saying.
Yeah, I'm really I love your topic for tonight, Nick. When you told me what you were gonna do, I was like, oh, amen, because I feel like I haven't been keeping track, and the things that I do like are now gonna be gone.
Well, yeah, what I would love to know besides the shows that I put on this list, where hopefully we're going to see a new season this year. That's what we have slated, and that's what the rumors are swirling around. So
All
we got
right.
some shows to look forward to.
So
But
we're
I'd
gonna
love
talk
to
about
know,
queer TV, basically, right?
yes,
Yeah,
queer
okay.
TV.
Queer TV.
Hey, I like that topic.
Yeah.
But yeah, besides, what I have on this list of queer television, because, as we all know, it's what we crave, everything on television that has to do with our queer community, and with so much of it leaving, which I'd love to hear what you've been watching, Denise, and what you've been watching, JD, because I want to know what's leaving and what you're hoping stays around, because so many things have been leaving streaming services, and it's not looking so good with LGBTQ TV landscape, and we're hoping that turns around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think I'll go back to the first blow, if you will. No pun intended, but Uncoupled.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I loved it because I'm not a huge Neil Patrick Harris fan, but
Yeah.
it had the Darren Star feel to it. So it was like a all gay Sex in the City with a dude, you know, and
Right. Right.
it was easy watching, and it was a good cast. So I was really surprised that that didn't get picked up again. So one stinking little season of it, and that was it. And then of
Yeah.
course the L Word was a big
Oh
shocker.
yeah. You lost that.
Don't count them out. Don't count them out. I know Eileen Chaikin's got something in the works that she's gonna, throw at Showtime.
Hmm. And I
Yeah,
think they were not going to another network, right? Were they going to get picked up from someone else, or?
I didn't hear that. I just heard that
Oh,
she has something else.
oh.
yeah, I can shed a little bit of light on that. So we
Decent.
actually just published a piece on the Queer Q about what the cancellation of Word Generation Q means for uh, queer female representation on TV.
Yeah.
And what they're doing, even though they canceled L Word Generation Q on Showtime, they're moving the show from its original location to New York City, and it's possible that some of the old cast members might be involved with it from the original show, as well as Generation Q, and most likely some new cast members and additions as well, since they're moving.
Oh,
So that is something to look forward to.
Yeah, I thought they would have some kind of resurrection. And
yeah.
just on a side note, and then this is it for politics. But I was really excited to see Alicia Haley and Kate Monig and the whole gang, and Jennifer Beals and everybody at the White House for Lesbian Visibility Week, and
Mhm.
be in the briefing room with our lesbian press secretary or whatever she is, our queer press secretary. And I watched all the little clips, and I think Eileen Chaikin spoke, and I was really impressed with everything that they said. Now more than ever, visibility matters and all that kind of stuff. And it was good. It was really good to see them.
That
Um,
was, yeah.
yeah, it was yeah, you're like, ooh, proud.
I didn't think it was real. I thought
Yeah.
it was some kind of like a spoof thing or something, and I'm like, and I'm
Thought it was a
like,
Saturday Night Live skit.
yeah, because I didn't think that that would really happen. And then I'm like, oh, that really happened. That
It
is
did
so
really
cool.
happen. Yeah, that's funny. Okay, so that's great about the possibility of that coming back. And trying to think of what other queer stuff that I watched Ted Lasso, and I was very stunned to see not one but two um same sex character, like all of a sudden, you
Yeah.
know, Keely and her boss, and then Colin. Like, I mean, that's so unheard of, like, I mean, not unheard of, like, it's, I hope that it has a good that storyline has a good ending, because it normally doesn't in real life.
I know, I don't want to spoil anything. I don't know if you've watched Ted Lasso yet today. I've watched it, so I
I
won't
did.
spoil anything.
I did
You
watch.
watched it.
I watched. Yeah. So I'm on. I 9 and 10. I'm waiting for 9 and 10. So am I up to date?
Well, so with this episode, well, shoot, I don't want to spoil it if you haven't watched it, but you
Thank
did
you.
watch the new episode today.
Yeah, like I know that Keely and Jack are over, right?
Yes, so
I
they
think.
broke up,
Okay.
and really curious what's going to happen with her and her relationship moving
I
forward.
know. I
And
always
then,
thought it was going to be Rebecca.
yeah,
I have to watch that. I've never watched it.
You
I'm gonna
yes,
have to.
will
G.
love it. You will absolutely love
What
it.
channel is, what station is that on? Network, I should say.
Disney. No, sorry. Apple. Apple.
Peacock? Oh, Apple, Apple.
Apple. Yeah. Which I indulged in a lot of Apple TV. I watched Truth Be Told. Shrinking was fantastic with
I
Harrison
love
Ford and Jason
shrinking.
Segel. And it's it's the friend, it's Gabby that makes the show, the other therapist, like Jessica Williams, is that her name? I think
Yes, it
she
is.
related to somebody. Is there, because I've seen her in other things, but I also get her confused with another Williams, because they look very similar. But anyways, I love her. So I think as far as gay stuff, that might be, I don't know. I'm sure you'll touch on something.
Well, I've been watching Somebody Somewhere, which started with Bridget Everett, and I
Yeah.
that just
Yeah.
started. This is the second episode in of season two, and I just read today that it was an article saying that that show is a really important representation of queer friendships,
Mm,
because you've got the transgender friend Fred,
yeah.
who I love Fred. That's Murray Hill. I
Yeah.
just love Fred.
Yeah.
Um, just the confidence and just so funny. Like he walks in the room and goes, "Here he is."
Yeah.
Like what am I for? And friend Joel. Oh my
Yeah.
God, it's just so funny. And Bridget Everett, she's kind of. It's a little ambiguous what her sexual
Yeah.
preference, right? Is it
Yeah.
supposed to be?
Yeah.
Like they're taking a walk and they're looking at people on the, like walking together, and they're like, I'd pound that. They have this game, I'd pound that. And so, and you don't know who she's looking at. Is it the man or the woman? Like
Right.
it's,
Right. Yeah.
I love that show. It's so funny in not an obviously in your face funny way, right? I mean,
Yeah.
people,
Like Work in Progress. It had that same tone,
yes,
that same vibe. Like,
yeah,
it's just
yeah.
a line here or a line there that give you a laugh, but everything sucks you in. And I'm really upset about Work in Progress too. That was another one that got, yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I was going to say that there's a lot of similarities between Work in Progress and Somebody Somewhere when it comes to the focus on friendship and queer friendship.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought Somebody Somewhere, it's a show that I still need to check out, but I know that, like you said, a lot of people really respect and admire the show
Yeah,
for what it touches on.
yeah,
Yeah,
really, really good.
in a very, understated way almost.
Yeah,
It's nothing about it is in your face, not even the funny stuff. Like you have to
right.
really get it, you
Yeah,
know?
and it's Midwest, which is
Yeah, yeah.
and makes you feel like maybe it isn't so bad, like where you do need to just find your tribe, no matter where you are. That's what
Exactly.
people like to get
Exactly.
from it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And that's an important thing for all of us to
yeah,
really hone in on,
yeah,
with everything that's going on nowadays. I think that that's a really great bright spot for that show to exist.
yeah. It's
Yes.
like there's nothing wrong with not feeling safe about going somewhere or whatever, but you don't want to eliminate that kind of thing too. So you got to find alternatives, like we love doing game night, with our little group, over here, our little gay group. And we do go out to dinner with Eric and Sam every now and then. And I like doing that because we'll meet them somewhere like halfway, and it doesn't really have to be a gay place, it's just we'll meet them halfway. And I don't have that many gay boy buddies, but I do like them, like they're fun. Eric is American and Sam is British, and so
Oh,
we have a lot in common.
yeah, yeah, I was
To
gonna
go out,
say.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, you have to have alternatives. You can't just shut off your social life because you're afraid to go out into queer spaces, like
Mhm.
and you want to support people. Like I like little like Katie, my friend Katie is a really good writer, and she finds a lot of these, I don't want to call them spoken words. They're actually like events, like queer diaries, where queer people will read a page from their diary when they were younger. And that ends up being really, really funny. So she does like a queer diaries night. And then there's another one where you pick a song and then you write about what that song evokes in you.
Mhm.
And that was pretty cool because I think she's done like two of them now. One of them was I forget what the song was, but it was special to her parents, so it became special to her,
Mhm.
and those are like queer events. And I like those kinds of things because like they may not be in an actual queer venue, like they might be at Royal Festival Hall, or South Bank Center or something, so
Mhm.
it feels under the radar, but you're with your people, so yeah, I would do, definitely support that kind of thing. And those are the people that need the support,
Mhm.
Big time. Okay, moving on.
So what else are you both watching? Are you any other shows, queer shows that you are missing out on?
I wouldn't consider this a queer show, but 911 Lone Star has like
Hmm.
great
Mhm.
storylines, with TK and his boyfriend getting married. And then who's the trans gentleman? I can't even think of his name, but he's so
Oh,
gorgeous.
yes, he's from L Word, right?
No,
The trans man, the
it
black guy.
he's from the L Word.
Yeah, he was in the L Word on the first season, the L Word Generation Q, or what's the new one? What do they call this new
Gen
one? Oh,
I had no idea. I've only just recently.
yeah, he worked on the campaign for Bet when she was running for mayor in the first season, and then he quit when Danny he could see like there was a conflict because she kind of had a crush on Bet. And
Okay.
like as a trans man, I was supporting her because I was hoping that she would change things. And I see what's happening here because he could see that she had a crush on her and she was making decisions based on that. Yeah, he was an L Word, this new
Wow,
one.
I didn't even place him in that. Don't even remember. I
Uh-huh.
just Paul. I was just like trying to think of his character's name is
I
Paul, right?
watched it because I watched the other 911, the original one, and they
Yeah.
have the two women on that show, Alicia Hind I think, plays, uh, oh, what's her name on the show?
And
Hen.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I do love her. And Tracy
Mhm.
Toms, yeah. Tracy Toms, I think we have a shot at getting her on the show because I have a friend who's besties with her. So
Wow.
yeah,
Really?
it'd be amazing because she's in Truth Be Told too. She's in everything right now. Like
Really?
everywhere you look, she's on Station 19 too. Which
Oh,
again, yeah, I've been watching Station 19 and Grace. So,
uh-huh.
got to support those
Right.
characters because you got, Karina and Bishop on Station 19. But, Grey's, I like, I feel like now that Arizona's gone and Cali's gone and, all the big name people that were, playing lesbians are gone. But there is still like that one intern that quit and is now a bartender. Like she's definitely a lesbian, and I think she's gonna hook up with one of the newer interns. So I think there is another storyline brewing there. I'm holding out hope. But yeah, it's really weird, like, and it shouldn't be that it's weird, but it is, I guess, because I'm old. But like when you're watching a network television show and they have, gay storylines, it still blows my mind. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, this is not a streaming show. This is not a Netflix show. This is on
Right,
ABC right now, like
right.
yeah.
Well,
So
they also had a 911, the husband of, Angela Bassett. Her husband was also gay. He had a husband. He was married, got remarried to someone who's like a surgeon, a
yes,
brain,
yes, right. That's correct. Yep.
surgeon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
that
Sex and the City is coming back with their storyline with Miranda.
Oh, and just like that, yeah. Shay Diaz. I think that's June, right? Because I know they just dropped the trailer.
I know. And what did I
no,
call it? Sex and the City. You're right. Just like that.
Yeah,
And just like
I
that.
can't wait for it just like that. And we'll
yeah,
have Che Diaz back, and I'm really
man.
excited for Sarah Ramirez to appear on the show again.
I love
Yeah.
the attitude about how that she gets there's a lot of trolling over that character, and her
Yeah.
attitude is like gonna be there. Go with it.
I know.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something Sarah Ramirez has dealt with, all their life,
Oh
and
my
it's
God,
something where
yeah.
they probably have had to deal with a lot of flack with a lot of the roles that they've chosen and a lot of what they've revealed about themselves. Selves. And
That was big, wasn't not big, but I mean, when you look at how it was like one toe in the pool on Grey's Anatomy. And then when she left, it was like she buzzed off her hair and she stopped wearing makeup and she fixed
Right?
up and she was showing off
Oh
those tattoos.
my
And it was
gosh.
just like, whoa, girl, whoa, rein it in a
Totally
little bit.
different look. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
just like kicked down the closet doors there. Like, this is me, this is who I am.
I love that. I
Yeah,
love that, because, then they became such a huge vocal advocate for the community after that.
yeah,
And I love when people, they feel like they have to kind of suppress a part of them when they're playing a role. Like I don't know if that was ever the case for them or like on Grey's Anatomy, but to be able to fully embrace who they are and then to
yeah,
be able to be so vocal about it and take on characters that more represent their identity. Like that's
yeah,
just so cool. I love that for them,
yeah. Really, really good. I watched a show called Reservation Dogs. Have you ever
I've
heard of
heard
it?
of Reservation Dogs, yeah.
I freaking loved it. I binged it so hard. I was up until like 2 and 3 in the morning. I think there's 2 seasons of it, and I think it was on Disney. But it was Tika Kiki. I can't even say his name. You know who I'm thinking of, right?
Yeah, Taika Waititi.
There it is.
That's how
Yeah.
to say.
But it reminded me so much of my own childhood because I grew up like reservation adjacent. Like my high school was separated by the reservation with a 2-lane road,
Oh,
so
yeah.
we
Yeah.
had like a Native American Cultural Society, and all my my some of my best friends, we would have parties on the reservation because the police had no jurisdiction, and so we could just put a cake on our shoulders and walk, and walk right to the reservation, and they couldn't do anything. But it was very representational of what their lives are like, how layered their families are, and everybody's uncle, like no matter whether they're related or not. And yeah, they can get in a lot of trouble if they're bored. If they're if they're bored, they can cause a lot of trouble. But I absolutely loved the main kids in it were just amazing. I mean, what amazing actors! But I think it was all filmed in Oklahoma, and they were using real Native American actors. So everybody, it felt very real, and
Mhm.
and I loved that this storyline kind of revolved around these kids wanting to get out of Oklahoma and move to California because they thought that it was a better. I thought initially they wanted to go because they thought it was a better life, but the story kind of unfolds backwards where one of their cousins that was in their little gang committed suicide, and in moving forward, it kind of shows how they're all grappling with that. And it one of the teachers had a letter that she wanted all the kids to write about what they saw in their future, and
Mhm.
so she gave it to the cousin and said, "This is Daniel's. I know he's not here, but I wanted to give it to you." So it was like a year later, and they were all able to read those letters. But in Daniel's, he said he wanted to go to California, so they were all going to California for Daniel. But it was just really, really good, and like heartfelt, and I just like how androgynous their lives are, kind of, like the guys look, with their long hair, they don't, I mean, that's a show of strength in a guy, yet they look like women, and the girls, no makeup, I mean, it was just really, really, really good. So yeah, that was one that I binged really hard on, big time.
That's really cool. And speaking of Taika Waititi, he has another show that came out called Our Flag Means Death on HBO
Oh,
Max,
yeah, I
or
keep seeing
now
that.
Max.
Yeah. Yeah. I keep seeing
And
the ads. What's that like? What is it about? What is it? What's the feel?
so it's a very humorous and satirical look at a group of pirates and their lives on the high seas. And
Really?
there are some characters who, are very androgynous and, are very queer coded in how they're portrayed. And what I'm really hoping for if we get a second season this year is if we can really explore those queer storylines moving forward and see
Yeah.
what can come of it. And I feel like hopefully Taika Waititi will kind of steer the ship, not to use that pun specifically because they're pirates, but
Yeah, I see him
steer it
doing that. Yeah.
in a queer way,
Yeah. Little controversy peppered in is always good. So I feel like that's his niche, So that I see
Yes.
that could happen.
He likes
Um
to push the envelope.
I was just thinking about another show that pissed me off when it got canceled, Gentleman Jack.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was a great show that was on HBO.
Yeah.
And that's just the trend. There's so many queer women shows that, are getting canceled left and right. And what
Shame.
was that? There was the new version of Queer as Folk on NBC that got canceled after one
We were
season
just talking
too.
about that. I feel like they would have come into their own in a second season,
Yeah, I just
streamlined a
started
few
getting
things.
into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had just towards the end of that first season really was into the characters and the stories and was like ready for the next season, see what was happening. I
Yeah.
could not believe they didn't give it a second chance, a second season, like a
Oh,
chance,
I was
for at a
stunned.
second season to like grow more
Oh,
into all the characters.
that's just it. If I feel like, they cancel things so fast,
Mhm.
while it's still marinating with people, they've already
Mhm.
made that decision, and then they snatch it away from you when you were like, oh man, I was gonna go back for seconds,
Right, right. Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
I have a story about that when it comes to Amazon, because have either of you seen the A League of Their Own
Yes.
reboot series?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Loved it. Loved it.
I
Loved it twice. Loved it so much. We watched it.
such a great series.
Yeah. And they're only getting four.
4 episodes for the second season.
That's it. And they're not having
That's it.
another one after that.
Nope,
So they're
that'll
going
be
to try
the
and
end.
wrap up everything in 4 episodes.
Yeah,
Wow. Well,
it better
tonight,
be
go
they
ahead. I'm
better be
sorry.
supersized episodes.
I know. I know. That's a lot of work on a writer, isn't it? Holy crap. How do we tie up?
Tonight is the last ever, like the end of the whole show, the end of the final season on A Million Little Things, which is a regular network show. Did you watch that, Nick?
No,
Um,
I've seen a lot about it, and I've heard it's a really good, like, big family drama, right?
Yeah, it's about friends really, and their dynamic. The whole thing started out that the guy that everyone looked up to, that was the glue of the whole group of friends, um, jumps out off the window, off the balcony of his office, and so no one can understand why he did it. And the whole reason about the name A Million Little Things was that it wasn't one reason, first of all, why that happened, but it was, he had said people form friendships. When you form good friendships, it's not one reason, it's a million little things why people form, because they were like really like a family. But right out of the beginning, like from the first season, they had the son, for gay representation, his son, who was only like probably 14, came out as gay, and that was always a storyline. But then in the last 2 seasons, one of the characters that had gotten divorced, it was a husband and wife. Grace Park from Hawaii 5
Love
She
her.
yeah, she came out as, and they really downplay her beauty in this show. She's a lawyer, so she looks
Hmm.
so conservative and very kind of plainish.
Yeah.
But then she reunites with a girlfriend of hers from high school, Cameron. What's her last name? I can't think of her last name. She's a comedian, and she has been her girlfriend for the last two
I
seasons, and
know
they
who
got
you're talking about. Carmen S.
Esposito.
Is that her
Yes.
name? Carmen Esposito. Yeah. I saw
Carmen
her.
Esposito. They just got married 2 weeks ago, and so they did, I think, due diligence in that show for gay representation, for as much as what the show was about. But
This is it. This is the final season, right?
tonight's the final everything. Yeah, it's the
Wow.
finale of everything.
The
I'm gonna miss.
Goldbergs too. The Goldbergs are out finally.
Oh man,
Mercy killing on that one.
wow! It's sad when it ends. It's like the last
Yeah.
one, and
Yeah.
I would
Um,
have liked to continue.
Nick, JD, I think I asked you this before and you said no, but do you watch Heartstopper?
That is actually the next show on my list of shows that I'm looking forward to, because even though we have all these shows ending, we still have shows like Heartstopper that everyone is eagerly anticipating for a second
Can't
season.
wait. I cannot wait. It was so cute. I
I
just
know, and
loved it.
that's planning to come out this August.
Right.
So
Yeah, this
we
summer.
have just a few months to go.
I know. And I think like, there's things to tide us over, like you said, and just like that, it'll be in June,
Yeah.
and then I forget there's something that's for me, the morning show, because
Mm.
Tig Notaro has been
Oh,
dropping some pictures from the set, and I'm like, oh my God, she's in the morning show.
Oh, I
Excellent.
can't wait either.
Yeah. And I think that's coming soon, right? May or June. So there's a few things like to tide us over while we're waiting, but Heartstopper is a biggie. Yeah. Really,
It
really looking
is.
forward to that. Jay, you would like that. That's
I
very
have
cute.
to look that one up too. That and Lasso, Ted
Oh,
Lasso.
Ted Lasso's amazing. Um, Yeah, that's good stuff. Is what else? Do we have anything new that's coming, or is there anything we should be cheering that did get renewed?
Well, I'm really excited for there's some more shows that are on Netflix that are gonna have some final seasons and some new seasons. Like, I don't know if you've seen Young Royals on Netflix.
It always comes up, like in the thing, and I never click on it because I couldn't tell if it was campy or soapy or funny or not.
Well, yeah, for any queer person, it's gonna show up as a recommendation, that's for
Right,
sure.
right. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
But
I don't know if it was because I was here in Britain or if it was because I was queer. So, but
but no,
is that a watcher or no?
yeah, that is definitely a watch or something
Okay.
that you should definitely check out. It's a lot similar to Heartstopper with the same kind of like demographic, and it focuses on, you guessed it, a young royal and his experience and relationships at a boarding school. So, there's a lot of drama that is to be expected.
And Elizabeth Hurley's in it?
No, so that was The Royals. I remember that
Oh,
show.
okay. All right. All right. I
That
still
was a
check
fun
out the Young
show.
Royals though. Okay. I'll put
I'll
that on
check
my list.
it out. I'm always looking for new stuff.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with any, this is off topic, but I watched for the first time last night the movie It, the Stephen King movie.
Nope.
Did you watch it?
Nope.
I've
Nope.
seen it,
I
yeah.
I don't watch
watched
anything.
because
I
my
don't watch
my
anything
nephew
scary. I keep hearing
loves
noise.
Pennywise, but he doesn't know, he's too little. Like he didn't watch the show, but he loved the clown Pennywise and he wanted the dolls and everything. So I'm like, I have to see what this movie when my own life gets too scary, that's when I turn to scary movies because nothing's scarier than my real life. And so just to like get out of my head. So I watched it and so I told my niece this morning, I said, Pennywise, that's the name of the clown that lives in the sewer, said something very interesting as I'm bitching about my own life this morning. And she goes, I don't think you should be taking advice from a fictional evil clown that lives in the sewer.
Yeah, you might want to steer clear of that.
He did say something that was kind of like, true. He takes the one kid, all the kids go against him, but there was one kid that was the main force to do this. And he's like, I'm going to take him in his evil clown voice, and you can all go on and live your lives, and I'm never going to bother you again. Because he comes back every 27 years. That's the thing about it, to terrorize the children in a community. And he goes, you're going to live happy lives, and then old age is going to get you in the end. And I'm like, oh my God, he's right. That's scarier than anything. That's scarier than the clown in the sewer getting old, right? So
Yeah,
I
it
thought that was
really
just kind of funny. That was just kind of such a subtle thing. Like he said that you could barely even understand what he was saying in his evil clown voice. But I'm like, that's true. That's true. Old age is scary.
I know. It's funny because there's a big age difference between me and my wife, and it's funny watching her go through the things, that I went through in my approaching 40, and every day she's like, oh, I have this weird pain. It's like right here. What do you think that is? I'm like, old age. Oh no, no. And I'm like, Jem, every day you're gonna wake up with a weird pain.
Right?
Then life gets in the way, you forget about the weird pain, and if it
Right?
comes back and it's more intense, then you go see somebody, but you will eventually forget the weird pain. Like
It's true.
every day. She was like, I never have like aches and pains like this, like my knees, my joints. She's booking massages on Saturday. She's going to
Oh,
West
that is funny.
Ultra Medic, the Chinese herbalist down the street for all kinds of like, you can do whatever you want to do, sweetheart, but you're not putting it off. I'm telling you, coming for you.
You
Yeah.
try, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
true with
like,
Dave too.
that's it.
We
I like watching her try. It's funny.
Danny's like, I can't see. Like, I'm like, put the glasses on. Just put the reading glasses on. You need the reading glass. Why can't I see? Why can't I read this? I'm like, because you need the reading glasses. I changed optometrist just because he told me I needed reading glasses when I was turning 40-ish, or 40, maybe
Like
40.
it was his fault.
Like it was his fault. I'm like, he cannot be right. There's something wrong with him. He doesn't know what he's doing. I
Oh
don't
my
need reading
God, that's funny. I go back, like, they'll tell you to come back in a year, like over here, because of the NHS, I get like, and I'm diabetic, so everything is free. Like my diabetic eye screening, my eye exams, all free. And they recommend you go once a year. And I think if you're not diabetic, you can go every 2 years, or
Uh-huh.
3 years. But I'm supposed to go every year I get a stronger prescription. And sometimes I don't even make it a year. Like 10 months go by and I'm like, what is that? And the next thing you know, I'm there and I'm like up in the thing. But I've always, from the time I was in like 10th grade, had horrible, horrible vision. So I would have like big Coke bottle glasses.
Yeah.
And then you want these really cool frames, right? And they're like, oh no, not
Right?
this
Me
prescription.
too.
You
That
can't
just
have.
happened.
I could never have wire ones. Like I could never wear like what you're wearing, Jay, because the lens is like so thick. So I always have to get like big, big frames to hold those thick Coke bottle lenses. But now that they're very focal, I'm pretty happy. But honestly, yeah, getting old sucks.
Stylish.
Yeah.
Very stylish. Yeah, Pennywise was right. I'm sorry, I have to agree with the fictional evil clown that lives in the
Back on queer stuff.
Yes.
Nick.
Like, a side note.
So, one of the shows that I'm most excited for a new season, and I'm hoping it comes out at the end of this year, but I don't know if you've been watching The White Lotus on HBO.
I
Oh,
have
I
not.
season. I watched the first season. Didn't like the second one.
Ah, okay.
No
So,
interest, the second one.
so what didn't you like about the second season?
I don't know. I think maybe I liked the characters better in the first season and the setting. I don't know. I just didn't. The second one didn't hold my interest. I think it was probably the characters and the actors in the first one.
That makes
Yeah,
sense. That's
I
yeah.
understandable.
I'm
haven't
glad they
watched
kept. Who's the actress that stayed? I like her. I
Jennifer.
can't think of her name.
Jennifer.
Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah.
Coolidge. Yeah, yeah. I liked her. I
Yeah.
liked her character in the first one too.
Stifler's mom. Stifler's mom. I didn't watch it. My wife's mother keeps telling us to watch it, and we
Gotta
just
check it out.
I feel like we have so much that it's like hard to slot something new in right now. Like I'm glad like a lot of things are finishing up and I know there'll be a little bit of a wait. So that's when we're gonna go at it. But it's now and I get nervous like another season, like no, we got 4 seasons, we got watch. And when it's
Yeah,
one,
let it
it's
get
not
too
that
ahead
bad.
of you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Don't get
So
too ahead.
yeah. Because I can do, like I can binge like nobody's business, but my wife is like, no, we gotta stop at 9. I'm like, 9? Oh my God, I could watch 4 more episodes by the time I go to bed. No, yeah. But Mrs. Maisel, I think we're up to date on Mrs. Maisel. No queerness in at all this season, but they worked on that last season, didn't they? So yeah.
I'm hoping to see what happens with Susie's character by the end of
Yeah.
the series.
Yeah, because there was that little altercation on the street with Gordon Ford's wife.
Yeah.
Like, okay, all right. There's something to look forward to. But I do like the way they're jumping ahead for about 3 minutes in the very beginning, so you can see what's going on in the 80s, and and it's always a surprise. It's always a surprise. Like, oh my God, her kids the boys living in Israel, the girls in absolute neurotic. The ex-husband's in jail. I'm like, what is going on here?
I know.
And then that little they alluded to her not being friends with Susie anymore, or having
Yeah.
a fallout with her. So I'm like, oh, they need to make sure that the last episode that they're back. I don't want it to end like that.
That's what I was saying. I
Yeah.
was saying if they end it, I'm like, I don't care if that's more realistic. This is a fantasy series at the end of the
Yes.
day, and we
Mhm.
Yeah.
want them to be together by the end of the show.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. But yeah, that's our current, nightly thing that, because now it's, like what I do is when something comes out, I give it 5 weeks and then I jump in so I can watch 5 episodes really quick.
Oh, there you go.
Back to week after week.
There you go. Right, right. It's a good plan.
Which
I
is
like
hard though, because there's so many spoilers and like I hate that, but I just try.
that.
Like with Ted Lasso, I waited until there were 5 up and then, so same thing with Mrs. Maisel. So we'll see.
Yeah,
Give me
that's a good
give me another one, Nick.
a good philosophy to live by. Wait till you got 5 saved up.
It's hard. It's very hard.
I watch some reality TV, and they are having more queer representation in 90 Day Fiance. Do you watch that, Nick?
Stop it. Stop it. Just stop it.
That is before, so at least they
We're
have it.
talking about scripted, produced, quality television here.
Right, right. I do support that more. I absolutely agree with that. Yes, yes.
I'm very nervous about the writer's strike.
Yeah.
Really, really nervous because next up it's the directors. After that, it's the actors. It's anything with a guild. Like they need to get this resolved really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need to pay the writers, and hopefully we can get those demands met for them. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it impacts like it did back in 2007 and 2008,
Yeah. Yeah. Then it's like, I mean, it's already hit the late shows, right? Because they're
Mhm.
pretty much live.
Yeah, they're gone
Can't even
now.
imagine. Is Saturday Night Live on hiatus over there?
It is now. Mhm.
Did you watch James Corden's final episode?
No, I'm not a James Corden fan,
I
so I did
used to
not watch
be when I
Yeah.
first moved here. I used to be that first year I was here. I loved Gavin and Stacey. And the more I watched it, the more I loved him. And then to find out that he and Ruth Jones wrote it, they would lock themselves in a hotel and they would bang out a season at a time. And I was so amazed that that was how they worked, and then the BAFTAs happen. And after 3 seasons, like they would win and win and win, best actors, best writing, best this, best that. But then one year they got all those and then didn't get best series. And he went up to the podium and said, how do you give us all the other things and not that?
Oh my God.
And the whole country turned on him. And he
Wow.
couldn't find work over here for nothing.
Wow. That's kind
And he
of
did like an apology tour and a book and all that. And then
God.
scuttled off to America to charm you guys. But we know the real deal, and now he's coming back.
Wow.
Like, what are we gonna do with him now? He's gonna have
I find that a little ungrateful of someone to say that. Yeah.
I swear to God, the whole country in a minute went from loving him to instantly hating him. Instantly. Like that
That's no
fucking ingrate.
surprise.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he's got quite a Jekyll Hyde thing, like Ellen. He's like an Ellen. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
Okay, sorry, Nick. Go ahead. Go.
No. No, so the other shows that I'm really excited for are on Netflix too. So we have a lot of Netflix series that we're going for, like Never Have I Ever. I don't know if you watched that teen rom-com.
Yeah, love it. Love it, love it,
So
love it.
that has some
I love anything from
LGBTQ
Mindy
characters.
Kaling, right?
Yeah, Mindy Kaling. Yeah,
Yeah,
can't resist her writing.
Yeah, yeah. And you always
And
know it's her. There's just some kind of thing that that weaves through different, the Mindy Project and then this. there's a Mindy Kaling feel to it, and I absolutely love it. Yes,
And if you're looking for some reality, I know Queer Eye is hopefully going to have a new season this year too.
there you
Oh,
go.
that's still around.
It's
Interesting.
yeah, it's like they're all different. And Drag
Yeah.
Race. I mean, like Carson Kressley smoothly transitioning from Queer Eye to a little Botox, some fake tanner, and then he's on Drag Race as a judge.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We have new seasons of that coming out this summer too to look
Yes.
forward to.
And All Stars, right?
And All Stars, yes.
Yeah, yeah. I watch all of them. Like I watch the Canadian one, which by the way, Jeffrey Bowers Chapman, am I saying that right? Okay.
Mhm.
So we had like a little lull and we decided that we were gonna check out Doogie Kamealoha or whatever on Disney, which is kind of a reboot of Doogie Howser, but it's a young Hawaiian girl.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
he is in it and he plays a gay doctor.
Oh
And I was,
wow.
is that the guy from Canada's Drag Race? And Jen was like, yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, he's so swishy and so flamboyantly gay that he was less gay on Drag Race. But yeah, I was shocked to see him. That's pretty cool. That's a cute show. It's like mindless when we're eating dinner television.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, very good. So give me another Netflix one.
Well, those are what I have for Netflix, but what I'm hoping for in the Marvel realm, and this is the last one that I have here, so I'm really hoping that we get some queerness with this, but you know the character of Loki is bisexual, right?
Right. Yeah.
So we're hoping that there's some queer storylines with Loki when that show's new season comes out.
Oh, I didn't even know it got picked up for season two. Okay.
And it's supposed to come out hopefully this September.
Okay. Good, good, good. Who's the guy that plays the lead in that? Tim
Tom Hiddleston.
Hiddleston. Okay. Because I've seen him on Graham Norton a couple times and he's funny.
He
He's
is funny.
there's some people like I love, it's like Graham Norton, he's like a fucking national treasure over here, like he's
Yeah.
just Eurovision is coming up, and that's
Oh.
again another time for Graham to shine because there is nothing better than when he does the broadcast over the live event,
Mhm.
right? So it's really confusing because you're watching it and they have hosts that are talking away and doing introductions and everything, and they kind of like bring the volume way down on them, and then Graham Norton will literally present for the BBC. And
Mhm.
so his shit is so witty and so cutting, that he'll just call out garbage as he sees it, or he'll make fun of like, the clothes and the makeup or whatever. But he is such a national treasure. And I love that he gets people to talk like on his talk show. He gets them so conversational that they're literally like spilling their guts, but they also, I think, are so relaxed because they're drinking the whole time.
Yeah.
They're like
Action.
drinks because I've been to two tapings now,
Mhm.
and you only see the one drink in front of them, but I can't because like the show is only 45 minutes long, but when you go to a taping, it's like 2.5 hours and they just
Oh.
whittle it down. You have no idea how many times that showrunner is bringing drinks out to that table. So people are like hammered and they're doing these interviews. So it's fantastic. I love it. I love him and I love how he has never been like never been shit on, you know.
Mhm.
And Alan Carr is another one. Like I think it's amazing that like the two top rated talk shows were gay men over here. You know,
Mhm.
Jonathan Ross always the straight guy trailing all the time. But the two gay guys always up in the ratings. It's great. That part's really really cool. I love that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to another season of Graham. He's always off for the summer, so
I'm gonna have to check them out.
You never watched the Graham Norton show?
I have not, no.
Oh my God, when I was first talking about moving to England, when Jem and I were still formulating our plan, um, she sent me a whole bunch of DVDs of the Graham Norton show, Ab Fab, and the Vicar of Dibley, and said, you have to watch all of these before you're allowed in the country.
Funny.
So
That was
that
required watching.
That's good to
To be
know.
allowed in.
my mom actually, I think on BBC America, my stepdad has tapes Graham Norton. And so my mom always catches up on Graham Norton and will always say, oh my God, did you see so and so on Graham? So it's good. It's excellent. He's so cute. So what else? That's it?
That is my list. There are so many more TV series that have queer characters and storylines coming out. So we are hoping that it'll improve some of the shows that we have coming out, that we got more queer characters and everything. That's
Yeah.
what we have to look forward to.
Yeah. I feel like I read a statement from GLAAD, I don't even know, like maybe 3 or 4 months ago. And it was like talking about how because of so many shows getting canceled and everything. And back to politics again. Don't you feel like that's driving a lot of this?
Uh, yeah, I think
I do
so.
too. I do too. I think that networks and big top rich white executives are getting antsy and nervous. That maybe it's too much. And in the political landscape that's
Yeah.
happening, like maybe they're finding that people aren't watching it as much
Mhm.
or trying not to expose their families to it in some way, and that's why they're not picking shows up, or I don't know. But I'm just like, we were on such a good run, you know like it just seemed like everything was queer, everything, and now it's like you got to find it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that the writers who are striking, they want transparency about the viewership for a lot of these shows that are on streaming because,
They
like you
should
said,
have it.
all these people who, get in power and making these decisions at Max and Netflix and Amazon, they're making these decisions about the content. And some of the times they're not even looking at the audiences. They're just going based off of what they think is popular right now. And we have no idea if it's really popular or not.
I didn't know that. I did not
Yeah.
know that. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Wow.
streamers haven't released viewership data hardly at all.
Hmm.
It's
That's
very sketchy.
yeah. It's like they drove us to them because
Yeah.
there was such a relaxation, of what they were doing versus networks. And then they don't want to count us. What? What?
That absolutely is true.
Yeah, that seems very unfair. But I am looking forward to all the good stuff that is out there and that is coming up and that will keep us afloat for the
Yeah.
summer. Like I said, I'm so worried about the writer's strike.
I
So
know. Fingers crossed we can
yeah,
end that soon.
yeah, big time. Oh, I'm really, really glad we did this. It was a nice little roundup
It
of
was so nice to see you again, Nick.
Yeah, it's great to see both of you.
yeah,
Thank
we have
you.
to I will touch back with you towards the end of June because I want to know how your Pride month went. So you
Yeah,
can
I'm
collect your
hoping
Pride
that.
data.
Yes, I will.
Or collect our pride data.
We're
I'll
gonna
I'll do
collect,
the
yeah,
farm
collect our
research.
Pride data. I'll be the one with the least. I'm just gonna put it out there. I know it. I feel it. I got in-laws coming in this summer. That's kind of stuff that gets in the way of Pride. But they really do jam pack to me the biggest one is Brighton Pride, and I don't know if we're gonna make that because it's really close to when my in-laws are here, and then when we go on our cruise. So
Oh,
I'm not
yeah.
quite sure if we can stick it in there, but we'll try. As a matter of fact, my friend Katie was saying the other day that she likes to go to a lot of little local prides that you never hear about in all
Mhm.
these little pockets in in our borough. I mean, even though we're considered the London borough, we're still in Surrey, and there's a lot of little cities like Crawley and Croydon. I hate to say it out loud because it's kind of like, but they still all have little local pride festivals. And I said to Jem, maybe that's the kind of thing we do this year, is just try and do some local ones instead of trying to go to Brighton, which is that's a million plus. And the same thing with London.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow.
Well, Brighton gets like amazing headliners, you know, at their thing, like Melanie C, or you know, when you get a Spice Girl showing up at Pride, you're gonna have a lot of people. So
That's true.
yeah, these little ones are gonna have like the girl that pulls pints and sings in the evenings. That's gonna be their entertainment. That's who you want to go support.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be my my agenda, because you know I don't like to do a lot in the summer because it's just too fucking hot and there's nowhere to go to cool down because nothing has air conditioning.
So your restaurants don't have air conditioning either? The hotels, the restaurants, the stores?
Some hotels are what they call climate control, and it keeps it at like a steady, like say 79 or something.
Yeah.
But it's not where you can like go to your air conditioner and make it colder. It's just a climate control thing. Yeah. But most pubs are not, most stores are not, you know, shops and stuff aren't. Everybody just has their doors and windows like wide open. Shops, pubs, homes, everything. It's the only way. But we found one of those little air conditioners that you put kind of like a booster. Like say you didn't feel like your condo was cool enough and you bought one of those boosters.
Yeah, yeah.
We're getting one of those. See where that green plant is? It's gonna go right there. Got to cut a hole through the brick. So there's an exhaust, and we're doing it. $2,000. $2,000. It'll be the best $2,000 we ever
spent. That money,
yeah,
yes.
Exactly. All right, guys. It's after midnight here, so I'm gonna let you go.
Yeah. We need to let you go and get some rest.
Been amazing, Nick, having you back. Like I said, we'll circle back at the end of June and then do a Pride roundup.
Yeah.
Good. I was happy to be here, so thanks for having me.
I'm glad we reconnected. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to catch you on Twitter from now on. Okay, folks, have a good night.
You too.
Bye.
Why do you always run back to the lover you once knew? You're addicted to her touch, that's true. My addiction. And I confess, my addiction is you. Don't ask me why I'm here tonight. I had to take this midnight drive to find you. And as I come in through the door, I see her dancing on the floor beside you. Why do you always run back to the lover you once knew? You're addicted to her touch, that's true. And I confess, my addiction is you. You look at me and in my eyes you see the hurt I can't disguise. I watch you, and though it seems I look right through, I'm noticing your every move. She's got you. What do